Alton Towers has reigned as the most iconic theme park in the UK for over 40 years. It is synonymous with the Hall of the Mountain King song and its many unique coasters. But after all these years, is it still worth a visit as of 2022? Well, I'm here to help you decide with this review. First of all, we need to discuss the queues. It makes the park so infamous in its current state. On my visit, an off-peak day just after Oktoberfest and before Scarefest, queues were no more than 10 minutes long throughout the 6-hour day, despite many school trips happening. Of course, the same could not be said when Scarefest started, as queues exceeded 90 minutes and crowds came in for this year's Halloween event. So, if you'd like to complete all of the main attractions in good time and do re-rides, it's best to go on an off-peak day outside of school holidays when no events are on. In addition to this, it's often cheaper to go on days that meet these criteria, so unless you're desperate to do the scare mazes or take in the ambience of a busy event, you should avoid these dates. Next up is the actual attraction availability. Every attraction was open at some point throughout the day, which normally cannot be said. Congo River Rapids was open in spite of the cold weather. Hex remained open and fully operational all day, even though it has been struggling as of late, and 13 only closed for a bit towards the end of the day after a bout of rain. Although, for anyone looking to get a ride on the Enterprise, you'll be saddened to find it's closed and in a state of ruin. It doesn't seem like it's coming back. The view I had from the Oblivion station was one of an overgrown ride without its cars, though they have been spotted in a backlot on site. Furthermore, the Duel refurbishment is well underway, with barriers put up outside the facade and fog pumping out on occasion with beaming lights to create a spooky atmosphere. So, while you cannot get a ride on it, it is still worthwhile for fans of the ride to take a look at the signage put up outside the facade. Anyway, back to the rides. I thoroughly enjoyed every attraction I went on. The soundtrack for each ride was blasting out, creating a great atmosphere, and the staff were accommodating and friendly. Staff were willing to help with putting bags and loose items away and made sure to check the restraints with care. Not to mention, the Wicker Man pre-show was running, which sometimes is removed on very busy days or for health and safety reasons given recent events, and this provided a great bit of theming. The Hex pre-shows also blew me away. I had such a good laugh on the ride and was honestly surprised it was working. I was expecting a breakdown. On the subject of Hex, I'd honestly say it was one of the best attractions for me. It really has a charm about it. While Vekoma Madhouses are pretty standard rides, the illusion was not lost on me. It was a really interesting experience and it really cannot be appreciated when just considering the ride. The soundtrack is so atmospheric and beautiful. Dare I say, it is my favourite at the park. The scale of the rooms you go in is also incredible. I think I might have gasped when the doors opened into the vault. The ride itself is also a lot of fun. Hex was definitely a highlight and I really do hope it stays. It has a great story that links well with the history of the area. And those are words I'd never thought I'd say about a flat ride, but I do love themed experiences just as much as coasters. Nemesis was also a standout for me too. While it has lost its kick over the years, I have to say it was running incredibly when I visited. I sat one row from the front and it was really hauling itself around the track with some force, and it was really great to experience some of the power the ride can get to. I'm so hopeful for its comeback after the retrack, once again putting it on the map as one of the UK's best coasters, but I don't think it has lost that title. Also, it was running fairly smooth too, although the last inversion always seems to ruin that. If you can get in a ride before the end of the season, I highly recommend it. My back row ride wasn't as pleasant however, but I won't talk about that. And for anyone planning a visit before the end of the season or next season, here's a little catch up on what will be happening to Nemesis. It will be having a near complete retrack, starting from the lift hill towards the end of the coaster, replacing most track pieces and supports. Then, the new track will of course be newer and more robust, but it will also be filled with sand, which helps to make the coaster slightly quieter in line with noise restrictions, and the reduction of friction and stress to the track will make it faster. To get all of the refurbishment work completed for 2024, the ride will need to close on the 6th of November, so you'll need to get a ride in before then as it will not be open next season. As for Duel, that will also not be open next season, as refurbishment work that is already underway will continue, and the reopening date has not been confirmed as of yet. I also cannot speak on the topic of the world of David Walliams. I've only been in that area probably once, and I'm not a massive fan of it. Although I can see it being a great experience for children and fans of the books, as the store carries pretty much any book of his you could ever want, with both hardback and paperback editions, and lots of other merchandise types. The ride offering is in line with the family theme, and the characters that walk around are always nice to interact with. It should also be noted that queues for the main dark ride in the area can get quite long, as it has a fairly low throughput. Personally, I am not a fan of the ride. I think it overuses screens when a former ride in the area, themed to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, used all practical effects and had charm despite its outdated technology, and the illustrations are of a similar style, so it's possible to have so much more potential. But overall, it's a good area for the family, though if you are, like me, going to the park for the big roller coasters, you aren't missing out on anything in my opinion. It holds its most value in encouraging children to read, as the ride is much better appreciated when you are familiar with the story, even though it is a retelling of it. For me, the thing that makes Alton Towers such a worthwhile visit is the theming. The story elements are often what makes the ride, whereas it would be a fairly basic ride without it. It's best to go in to have a bit of fun rather than place high expectations on things, because theme parks in general are about having a good time. Truth be told, I say that because I wouldn't say the rides are particularly intense, but that's what makes it such a fun, worthwhile visit, and it's different for everyone. Another point to mention is retail and entertainment. There are so many outlets to eat at, and the food is of pretty good quality for a theme park, ranging from classic fast food to worldwide cuisine, although it can be a bit expensive. At some stalls, chips can set you back £4, but at others, a meal deal will cost £8, which is a fair price for the amount of food you get, so it's best to look around before you eat. If you have, or are looking to buy a Merlin annual pass, some outlets provide a discount, but not all offer this, as some aren't owned by the park. And for those who have dietary requirements, allergen information is available both at the park and on the website, and food can be brought into the park for a picnic at the many seating areas, and halal options are available and marked clearly. Furthermore, some vegan and vegetarian options are available, though this is fairly limited, so it is a good idea to bring your own food just in case. As for entertainment, it was limited due to the absence of an event, but there were still things to see. Each day there were a variety of shows in CBeebies Land for all the family to watch, featuring familiar characters at different points in the day. Some performers were roaming about on the vehicles. Honestly, I don't have a clue what they're called, but one of the cars has a jail on it, which provides some good humour. Other than that, outside of events, there is only entertainment for families, which makes sense given I always prioritise the rides. Finally, I would like to discuss the merchandise offering. All of the merch is high quality, with a mix between sewn logos and printed designs. Hoodies for adults are £40, which is fairly expensive, but they have fleece on the inside and a soft, which makes for good temperature control. I bought an Alton Towers branded hoodie, which is well cushioned and the design is nice and subtle, which cannot be said about some of the merchandise, which is quite obviously from a theme park, but I still like that type of thing. And I also got a Nemesis mug, which was £12 and has a good design, volume, and it's a memory from the original Nemesis. To summarise, Alton Towers is still well worth a visit, so long as you aren't too fussed about waiting in a few queues, and there's always a beautiful landscape to take in as you traverse the park. Honestly, the overall atmosphere is what makes it. The music as you wander around the forest, the beautiful gardens and theming as you zip about on the coaster. It's best to visit with friends. It makes the queues much better when you have people to have a laugh with, and ride photos are always great when your friends look awful. It's a beautiful park with incredible innovative rides such as Oblivion, the first vertical drop coaster, and it's great to appreciate its history. So, I hope you enjoyed this review. It seems like the service at the park is getting better year by year, and I cannot wait for the future of the park, including its investment in both Duel and Nemesis. I'd highly recommend visiting the park. It was honestly a 10 out of 10 visit for me. Of course, if you enjoyed this review, make sure to like, comment and subscribe to support the channel. This is Just Talking. Bye bye.